Yeah, we're officially rolling.
Oh, we got the COVID.
Because of last week. We're live in action.
Good to know. Good to know.
Dave, I specifically wrote a welcome back to the Bing Bang download on my cheat sheet.
She did.
Because of what happened last time.
We are official.
We did it.
We have an intro. Welcome back to the Bing Bang download. For those of you who don't know, we are a full-service marketing agency here in Waukee where we specialize in creating content and strategies for brands and businesses in the Midwest, and we specifically specialize in video. We love what we do with content creation. We tell stories for brands and businesses, and all types of stories is what I really wanted to hit on. We tell brand stories. We tell customer testimonials, employee testimonials, culture videos, and my favorite is educational videos because that's how you build trust most effectively with your audience, from my opinion. What about yours, Grace?
My humble opinion. I do. I love a brand video, but there's nothing that connects with your audience. They actually come to your brand to want to learn something. So those educational videos are really effective.
And it positions you as an expert in your industry.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they want to work with you after that?
Exactly. That leads us to one of our clients from this year, the American Red Cross. They came to us earlier this year through one of our amazing client managers, Mark.
Shout out, Mark.
Shout out, Mark. One of his friends, Dana, is on the board of the Red Cross of Central Iowa. So she was familiar with the video content that we create here at Bing Bang and the storytelling that we've done. So she reached out to Mark via LinkedIn and asked if we would be interested in just submitting an RFP and working with them for their Heroes of the Heartland event, their signature corporate fundraising event where they honor individuals who are examples of ordinary people who have done extraordinary things in their community. It's pretty cool, right?
It is pretty cool. Lo and behold, we got that. So today we wanted to get into a storytelling framework that we use for not only this project, but a lot of projects that come through this storytelling content creation machine that we have here, that you can also use this framework in your business as well. But first, we wanted to come out and say that your stories, no matter what kind of story you tell, it has to draw an emotion, right? By creating emotional connection with your audience, whether it's through humor, empathy, empowerment, inspiring, motivating, or just drawing that really pull at the heartstrings, those kinds of one that makes you want to cry. Evoking emotions can leave a lasting impression on your audience. So that's the overall goal of what storytelling is about. So now that we have that in place, let's get into the storytelling framework that we're going to walk you through today.
Let's do it. All right. Number one, we want to define the purpose and message of your story. So doing that ensures that your video content is clear and focused throughout the video. It also makes it easier for your audience to understand your message and connect with it.
There's nothing worse than you're watching a story and you're like, wait, what is happening?
Yeah, you're like, why am I watching this?
Yes, exactly.
So for this project in particular, we wanted to make sure that the overarching message of Heroes of the Heartland was translated into those 4 separate videos for 4 separate honorable heroes. So the overarching message that we had was to highlight and showcase each individual story of heroism while also showcasing the American Red Cross with a subset message shedding light on their mission to help those facing emergencies.
Yeah, so like we mentioned, we were assigned to create these 4 separate videos for each of the 4 heroes and embody that overarching message of the American Red Cross Heroes of the Heartland event. That being said, along with the overarching message, each individual story had a message that we wanted to convey as well. So I'm going to run through those really quick. Video 1 highlighted Dio, who selflessly responded to crisis in Madison County. This video needed to highlight resilience and unity of Dio's community, who came together to support those affected by a natural disaster. Dio's story showcases how strength can emerge in the darkest of times. Now in video 2, we captured the story of Nick and his friends and strangers that saved his life when he went into cardiac arrest. In this story, it was important to convey the message of quick thinking, heroic actions, and the importance of CPR and emergency response. In video 3, Scott, a Hy-Vee employee who, while on his daily route, witnessed a horrific accident that changed Noah's life. It was imperative that we shared a message of bravery, compassion, and the profound impact of ordinary individuals in saving lives. And then finally, in video number 4, Semahar was nominated for rewriting the narrative of inclusion, equity, and empowerment as the first ever community inclusion liaison for the city of Sioux City. This message of this nomination needed to highlight inspiration, leadership, and the transformative impact of a dedicated community advocate. All pretty cool and unique stories on their own.
Yeah, super impactful stories.
Yeah.
So as you can see, each of those 4 stories embody their own purpose and message. However, it was imperative for us as a creative team to ensure that they all aligned with Heroes of the Heartland and the American Red Cross brand values.
Absolutely.
So now that we have defined the purpose and message of the event, the client is hosting as well as each individual story.
Mm-hmm.
Now we move into how do you actually plan to tell your story.
Step 2.
So by planning your story, you are able to easily and clearly communicate with everyone on the team the goals and objectives of what is needing to be captured. So based on the audience these videos were going for, which were corporate men and women in Iowa, and defined goals, we had a very clear understanding of the shot list, of the interview questions, and the overall feel that the videos were going to have.
Yeah, I think that even goes back to last time we were talking about Merriweather and like defining your audience, like knowing who you're trying to speak these stories to is such an important piece of the storytelling puzzle when you're trying to develop these stories outlines.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, we needed to capture an interview with each nominee to hear the story from their point of view. And then we also interviewed supportive people that were involved in that story, people that were either on the scene or impacted because of what they had done in their communities. And also we interviewed community leaders as well to highlight them. We were restricted to shooting at the Red Cross building for this project, specifically in their conference room, which means we only had the opportunity to shoot interviews with no B-roll. And as a creative, that can be kind of tough to hear because you're like only working with one type of shot. But in hindsight, with this project in particular, it let the actual story and the emotions of the story shine through not only what they were telling, but like through the set design and the lighting that we used. It made it very intense and dramatic and made us really focus on these narratives that they were telling.
Yeah.
Also, since we weren't really to utilize B-roll, we relied heavily on content that each interviewee had to contribute it to the overall video. So like photos they had or little like Snapchat videos and stuff like that. This helps make the video more engaging and dynamic when watching it. So it's not just like a straight up interview. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was really cool like seeing those additional photos with the people together and like seeing they're winning or like, you know, their friends.
Give them more insight into them as an actual person.
Yeah,
too,
for sure.
Than a hero.
All right. So we have everything shot, produced, edited, finalized. Now it's time to distribute it. So with this project specifically, these 4 had a very defined purpose of being showcased at that Heroes of the Heartland fundraising event, where roughly 200 representatives from major corporations around the Des Moines area attended.
It was a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of tables.
When we were discussing the project with Mark, he said that this was probably his favorite project of the year and that it was both challenging and really rewarding to work on.
I bet that came from like so many, I don't want to speak for him, but like from knowing the lady that like was interested in us doing the project to like his inclusion and involvement in the whole production process as a whole. I bet he's really proud of that one and all he did in it.
Yeah. And we were in attendance at that event.
We had a table.
Yeah. So that was it was really cool to see these up on the big screen and then to hear those stories. It was really impactful.
Yeah.
Like in front of that big audience.
And something John and I talked about in a couple episodes was just, it's really cool. It's that proud feeling when you're able to see people consuming the content that you spent so long creating, you know? So just like our one little table of 8, it's like surrounded by 18 other tables, like we were all watching and engaged on something that our table created, which was pretty cool. Once I finally got there, I was maybe a tad late.
Yeah. Pretty on par.
Grace is in the parking lot, and she's like, "Are you coming? Are you here?" I'm like, "Grace, I have just passed the Smoky Road Ankeny, so I will be there in like 10.
Oh,
Give me 10."
I should have known. I
You
should have
should've
picked you
done.
up.
You should have picked me up. Why haven't we learned from that?
No.
We haven't learned. Okay, so to recap really quick, step number 1 was to drill down your why. Each story is going to have a different why. Like in your case, is it to empower your audience? Is it to educate your audience or even entertain your audience, inspire, motivate? Whatever you want to define, it's going to set the foundation for sharing your story.
Yeah, so then we figured out a plan to effectively tell each story. So this is your how. How are we going to tell this story? This is really important because this is how people learn and react to your story. So it needs to come off in a way that's visually appealing, and most importantly, it flows together to make sense.
And then the last and final piece of our storytelling framework is the distribution of the story. Where is a story going to be shared and lived? This should be defined when you're establishing your why and your how. Like, is it going to live on your website or on a landing page, or is it going to be shared at an event or on social media? Give it a main base, mothership, if you will. If you have our repurposing guide, you know what I'm talking about.
Mothership.
It's bingbang.com/repurpose. If you give it a mothership, then you can from there repurpose it in a way on other platforms, other pieces of content that you create from it. But it needs that home base to live. With this storyteller series in particular, we knew we were going to share it with a mass group of people at this event. So in this case, we were able to like let the piece breathe and be a longer form piece of content. Dare I say, have the piece of content go over 90 seconds. I know, it's crazy. But because of that, you have to remember to use your time wisely when you're creating those longer pieces of content through the pace of it, the music, transitions, cuts, sound effects, all those things, because you want to make the most out of the opportunity you have with the viewer watching and hearing your story.
So those were the 3 main things that we wanted to focus on. But then the foundational, overarching, big feeling we want to focus on is the emotion. So here's the thing about emotion. We think it has to always be this big, dramatic, heavy thing that we need to translate. But what's often forgot is all the other emotions that are out there that you can draw from your audience to tell the story. So whatever feeling you want your audience to have once they leave your video is what should be your overarching goal of the whole project and what will build likability and trust.
Look at that. How do you feel after finishing this podcast? What emotion do you feel?
Yeah, what emotion do we get from it?
Leave a comment below. No, this client, like Mark said, it was like one of his most proud projects he's had all year. It was really cool to see it in action and live and everyone engaged in it as well. And Mark did tell us that they already reached out to us about creating videos in 2024. So that's pretty cool. Not only were we impressed, but the client was highly impressed too. And that's, at the end of the day, all that really matters.
It's always fun to hear those.
Yes, exactly.
Success stories.
Well, thanks, Grace, for joining me again in the hot seat.
You're welcome.
I know it's a fun seat to be in. We've been
So
playing
hot.
footsie down here. We're so close today. And thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Bing Bang Download. And we will see you in a couple of weeks with another one. And we hope you have an amazing day.
Bye.
It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would. Watch out now. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Everybody watch out. Watch out now. I'm ready for a good time, and I came to groove. The whole band's here, and we came to move. Got a fresh haircut and 2 new shoes. We're here all night like we got nothing to lose. I'm coming out the jacket, cause we're turning up the heat. I wanna see you clapping when you get up out your seat. It's time to make it happen when we hit these streets. I'm coming in hot, and I can't be beat. Watch out now. Baby, watch out now.